I didn't know anybody going to A&M, and so there's like the roommate matching like portal. It's basically like like online dating. I'm just gonna read what I sent you the very first. I said, "Hey, like I'm about to go watch a movie, so I'll talk to you later." I'm like, okay, and then afterwards, you're like, "Hey man," and I was like, "Hey man, was the movie good?" You're like, "Yeah, I watched Detective Pikachu with my sister."
Oh my god.
Okay, we'll redo that.
No cuts.
That was good. I didn't see anything wrong with it.
See anything?
Yeah.
Hear anything?
Okay. I don't know how this podcast is released.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of Finding Zeal. If it's your first time here, I'm Cohen. This is Josh.
Yep.
And wow, we haven't recorded in a while. It's been like a month.
Yeah,
Probably.
it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little while, but we have our second guest today, a man who is one of my best friends and a roommate. He's also a legendary civil engineer, and we're gonna interview him, find out.
Almost civil engineer.
Yeah, almost.
Oh,
civil
well,
engineer, I would say.
Yeah, okay.
I am not a professional engineer.
But this is Calvin Small, so welcome Calvin Small to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored to be a part of it. So.
Anyways, Calvin, you don't know because we haven't launched the podcast yet at the time of this recording, but this podcast is all about helping like high school and college students find out something they're passionate about, like a career or hobbies or whatever. And so we thought you were a good candidate for. We haven't had any civil engineers on yet, so or potential.
You're our inaugural
Training.
civil engineer.
Okay. Hopefully, I'm a good first one. So. Or the last one.
But basically, every guest we have on, we ask them this certain question at the beginning of the podcast. So I hope you're prepared.
It's a big deal.
It's super serious. The way
Okay.
you answer this is like super important.
I'm ready for it.
So the question is, what is your favorite cereal and how much milk do you put in it?
Oh my gosh. I've had so many favorite cereals over my lifetime. So this one is going to be a hard one to choose. But I would have to go with, I'll list two off and then I'll pick my favorite.
Okay.
Either Lucky Charms or Cocoa Puffs.
There's a right answer.
Those.
And honorable mention is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But top two, Cocoa Puffs and Lucky Charms. But if I had to pick, Cocoa Puffs.
Good. That's
Yep.
the right one.
Dude, freshman year, remember when we were in
Yeah.
freshman year.
We would go to the dining hall and just get Cocoa Puffs sometimes.
Yeah.
We would use our meal swipe for just Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
It was great.
Dude, because of the like chocolate milkiness that you get at the end of it.
Exactly. I think that's why it's such a just an amazing cereal to eat. To answer your milk question, I would have to go with, you fill the bowl up, almost to the brim with the cereal, probably like 75%. And then with the milk, you go probably until, the cereal rises to where if you're holding it, you can almost spill it, but it's like you're not going to. So
I can respect that.
I see.
yeah.
That's probably about what I do.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Dude, in our last episode, if you haven't listened to it, you should. But Hannah had a very hot take on cereal.
I actually kind of understood her reasoning, though.
Yeah, it did kind of make sense, but also I would never do it. I don't think.
She puts milk first.
I'm interested. Can
Yeah.
you tell me what it was or no? Oh, she puts milk first?
Yeah, she puts milk first in her bowl.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
She
That's
thinks
the first person I've heard to do that.
she doesn't
I know.
like how soggy it gets if you just put the cereal first and then put the milk. So she puts milk in, puts a little bit of cereal on the top, eats that so it doesn't get soggy, and then she'll just put more until she's full.
I'm going to have to try that, but
I thought it was pretty interesting. I didn't know that was the reason.
I'm okay with soggy cereal. Like, I mean,
That's a hot take. I don't
Yeah.
like soggy cereal.
like soggy Cocoa Puffs, like those go hard.
No, it has to be a little
I
crunchy.
definitely prefer crunchy.
Yeah.
But this podcast is not about cereal, so we'll move on. So another question we like to ask is, when you were like growing up, what was like your dream job? When you were like elementary, what did you want to be when you grew up? You're like,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as a big sports fan and athlete, I played sports all my life. Obviously, I wanted to go be a professional sports athlete. NBA player most likely, but obviously because of my size and my skills, I couldn't do that. But always wanting to become a athlete of some sort, so like NBA or MLB player. Although I didn't play baseball in high school, that was something I wanted to do like early on, or soccer. I also enjoyed playing soccer. Trying to join a club team or something. But
who were your inspirations for that?
For like sports reasons?
Yeah.
I was a big Rajon Rondo fan when I was
Oh.
young, when he was on the Celtics, and it was just how like cool his passing was. Like he was such a phenomenal point guard, and so I was like, wow, like I could do something like that. So he was like one of my favorite NBA players, first favorite NBA players, but now I kind of like don't like him as much. But that's just because like I found more recent like better NBA players like Donovan Mitchell or Steph Curry. I mean, the new rookie or the new young bloods, I guess you could say.
Dude, I did not expect you to say Rajon Rondo.
I know that's been like a kept secret for a long time. I have his jersey.
It's out in the open now.
Yeah, so it's out in the public now. But I had his jersey. He was my
Exposed.
first jersey. He was my first player to get.
Title of the episode: Calvin Small exposed.
Rajon Rondo.
Calvin
fan.
Small canceled. Just kidding.
Don't cancel.
No, do you follow the Dunk Instagram page?
No.
Oh, dang it. I was going to say that guy, he's notorious for like posting stuff about Rajon Rondo and being like Rajon Rondo is the GOAT. And
Really?
He like loves Rajon Rondo.
He was the GOAT. And I don't know if he's not the GOAT now, but
I recently saw a video of Rondo dunking on Dwight Howard, I think.
Really?
Yeah, like
back in
when
the
he was
day,
younger.
or like,
Yeah, well, back in the day, not now.
Yeah. I never really liked Rajon Rondo because of what happened with the Mavs and
oh yeah,
him
he had a bad
butting heads with Rick Carlisle.
Mavs. So
It just didn't work out for us that well. So, but anyways, at what point did you like start thinking about like a different career just outside of playing sports? Like how quickly was that?
probably when I got into high school, like I realized like, okay, like the level of talent I have isn't good enough to go to the professionals. Like I was sort of in the back of my mind thinking like maybe college route, like playing a small school basketball team. But obviously like there needed to be some sort of like base for like academics. Like I'm strong in academics, and so like I really focus on school and that kind of stuff. So I was trying to just find like what I'm best at in high school, and that happened to be math, some science, and just I don't want to say it. I'm probably not a big logical thinker, but I do think I can like solve problems well. So when I was looking at that kind of stuff, I was sort of trying to figure out what I could do with those. And one thing I noticed as like a kid and just like a teenager, one thing I enjoyed was like looking out the windows while driving around in the back of the car with my dad or my mom, and just like seeing all the buildings and like construction going on. Like I love seeing houses being built, that kind of stuff, because like I don't know, like I grew up playing with Legos. I built Legos and the log cabin. I forget what they're called.
The Lincoln Logs?
Lincoln Logs.
Dude,
I had
Lincoln Logs.
I had a train set that I would build. So I just like building stuff kind of like drew my attention. And so I did some research probably sophomore year, junior year maybe, of like what I could do in that kind of realm of like building things, creating things. And I came up, there were some options. One of them was like construction management, where like you're managing residential house buildings, construction wise. Civil engineering was one of them. So those were the big two that I like looked at. And so then I was like, okay, well, where could I go to get those degrees? And so I did some more research on both of them actually, and I found out being like a construction manager took up more time of like I want a family later in my life. I want to watch my kids play sports, be there for them. And so I was like looking at that kind of stuff where like how much time does it take up a week, and what are the hours and that kind of stuff. And certain websites were saying like being a construction manager is like a lot less flexible, or like it's like more mandatory with time. And so I was like, okay, well, civil engineering sounds similar to that, so that might be something I'm interested in. So yeah.
Dang, I didn't realize that construction management was like, or that I wouldn't even think that the hours would be different really between the two.
I don't know if.
Guess we'll have to have a construction manager on.
Yeah, I really don't know what it is. It's probably more like you start earlier. There's times where you can be like up at night doing construction, because if you're doing construction on roads, which is something I kind of thought about doing, like most of that is done at night, so you don't disrupt the traffic flow and everything.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. I think
It might also have to be like early career as well, like later in the career as you like work your way up the chain. You won't have to work as much.
Yeah, you get like better shifts and priority and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
that makes sense. Okay, so you're in high school, you're doing research about construction management, civil engineering. You're also playing basketball and soccer, right?
Yes, that's right.
And then, so what universities, like, how did you decide where you wanted to go to college?
Yeah, so my high school journey was, I started looking junior year at like smaller colleges, thinking I could maybe go play basketball at any of them. So like, for example, I toured LeTourneau University, which is a very good engineering school. They have a good civil engineering program up in Longview, Texas. For colleges, yeah, I narrowed it down to like colleges where I could like go play basketball and do civil engineering. So like top schools in Texas or in the area around Texas. And so then I went to LeTourneau. I went to UT Tyler. I looked at, there was one in Arkansas called, it's a very small school. It's like a NAIA, I forget it. But I looked there. So 3 colleges for that reason. And then Texas A&M, which is well known for their engineering department.
Yeah.
And so it was either try to get into one of those 3 schools to play college basketball and get a civil engineering degree, or get your wishes to go play college basketball and just get like a solid education at Texas A&M and, excel in intramural sports,
Yeah.
So
just dominate.
Yeah, right. Something I haven't done yet. It's been fun playing intramural sports here at A&M. But that was sort of my thinking about looking for colleges in that sense. Like I narrowed it down to like what degree I want to do, and then the surrounding area I looked for like the best ones. I think UT has a good civil engineering department, but I didn't want to go UT.
Yeah.
I should say TU.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Texas A&M is close to where I'm from. College Station is only an hour and a half from Waco. So that was a good drawing point.
Yeah. So did you ever consider going to Baylor? Because I know you were like a huge Baylor fan growing up.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend also goes to Baylor.
My girlfriend does go to Baylor. That was something we talked about, and I think it would have been really cool to go to Baylor. I am a big Baylor fan, and so I cheer for their sports teams and mainly, their sports teams and everything. And so going to Baylor would have been really fun, especially with my girlfriend being there. But they don't have civil engineering. And so that was something I was like, well, do I like go to Baylor and try to find a different degree that I want to do? Is there something that God's calling me to do differently in that sense? Or should I, go to A&M, a school where I didn't know a lot about growing up? Like I wasn't an A&M fan. I don't have many family members who are A&M fans.
Same.
So like it was just like, going to a different environment, and the sense of that where, you're going to a place unfamiliar to go do something that you feel passionate about, something that you think you're going to be good at later in life, was something I was like I decided upon. So, and I felt like I could be a Baylor fan and go to A&M at the same time. So,
But A&M's number one, right?
yes, I have to say
Better
that.
be.
Yeah, if A&M basketball team is playing the Baylor basketball team.
I've had that question asked. Yeah, if A&M's playing Baylor, who do I choose for?
Yeah.
Both. But yeah, I'll be happy with any outcome. Whoever wins or loses. So I don't know.
That's
People
funny.
might not like that answer, but I'm satisfied.
What about
with it.
football?
Football? Oh, I mean, I don't know. I would have to say both again, but it to make people happy, yeah, both. To make me happy, I don't care. Like they're both playing. At the end of the day, it's just a sports game. So, but
Oh, hot take.
I am a yes, a hot take, I guess. But I'm a big sports
A&M
fan.
football is everything.
I do enjoy my first A&M football game. I fell in love with it, going to Kyle Field and everything. So.
Yeah.
It's an environment.
It's definitely.
Luckily, we'll be back. What next week, huh?
Yeah, next Saturday.
Yeah, right.
Well, I guess this won't be. This will be dropping
Like the
Probably
day after.
after.
the day after. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Hopefully we beat the terrible
Kent
team that
State.
we're playing.
Kent State.
Yeah.
Well, Haynes King just got announced as a starter.
Right.
So
That's
that'll be
exciting.
fun.
Dude, I know. I'm excited. He's like super athletic.
He's really like
The
young
next
and
Johnny Manziel, maybe.
yeah.
Dude, that's what hopefully that's what people are potentially saying. Okay,
Let's
so
hope.
and then you come to A&M, even though your girlfriend's already at Baylor,
Right.
and then you get some random roommate who's
Yeah.
turns out to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Is this the story of how y'all met?
This is our bromance story.
Yeah,
Aw.
I was gonna say, Calvin, I think it would be funny if I pulled up the first Instagram messages we sent each other and read them.
Shoot! Yeah, do that. Look at that. Do you have it ready?
Hey,
No.
hey,
I'm gonna have to like.
want to be roommates?
I think Cohen reached out to me first.
Ah,
So
Well,
this should be
yeah.
a big deal.
Well, so
Who reached out
basically,
who first?
I didn't know anybody going to A&M, and so there's like the roommate matching like portal. It's basically like online dating.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole portal when it comes to
fill
trying
out-
to find a roommate as a freshman that A&M has set up, and I'm sure most schools have it set up too.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty convenient. I didn't end up using it personally because I knew my roommate coming in, but a lot of people use it, and there's a lot of success, but there's also some horror stories.
Yeah.
So-
Most people don't end up being friends with their roommate.
yeah, and then they find other friends and live
Yeah.
with them the next year. But hey, Cohen and Calvin worked out, and actually, I have a really good friend who was a roommate of one of my roommates, who's like one of our best friends now. So that's kind of just how it worked.
Are
out
you
for
still
us.
friends with your freshman year roommate or no?
Yeah. He's my roommate now.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, because I knew him coming in. I guess it could have.
Well,
like,
some people know each other coming
yeah,
in,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
they still end up
Yeah,
hating each other.
Yeah. He's still one of my best friends.
Okay, so we've had good situations.
Yeah.
Okay, it's gonna take. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get to the top of this message strand. I'm in
Do y'all DM a lot?
January.
I don't even know.
I mean, we sent each other
Yeah, we sent in
random,
different posts.
That's cute.
random, yeah, basketball
Basketball.
stuff mostly. That I'm
Yeah.
looking through it. Or disc golf, a random. If I find
Disc
something in
golf.
disc golf, I'll send it.
Mavs.
Disc
Yeah.
golf,
Jazz.
basketball.
Random refing. Oh yeah, Cal, tell us why you decided about like refing. You're an intramural ref, right? Or you're maybe
Oh.
not about to be, but
Yeah, I mean, I might be quitting soon. I don't
As
know
a
yet.
job, you were intramural ref.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Basketball ref. to be,
Oh,
yeah, more specific. But I got hooked up with that with a friend of mine from high school. We were in drumline together. He was a senior at A&M, so freshman year, he was a senior. And I ran into him once at the rec center, talked with him a little bit. And then actually, I didn't know he was a ref until Cohen and I were on an intramural team, and I saw him there reffing one of the basketball games before ours. And I was like, "Oh, Jack, like you ref basketball?" And he's like, "Yeah." Got into it actually this year. Like this is my first time. And I was like, "Okay, great, that's awesome. Like you get paid and everything?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's a great, just fun job." He played basketball also in high school, so sort of similar situation to me. I enjoyed basketball. I felt like I knew the rules well, and I was like, well, I'm getting paid to be a part of a basketball game, so it's not that bad of a gig. So I applied, and so did Cohen. We both
Yep.
became integral basketball refs, and so for our first semester actually got cut short because of COVID, but we probably ref for like 2 months, and so I probably ref like 6-ish shifts.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and then the past 2 years I've done outdoor 3v3 basketball, which is totally different because it's not 5v5 full court. It's just half court rule, like only one ref per court pretty much. But I've enjoyed it. It's definitely helped shape me into like more problem solving person, being more outspoken, an effective communicator. I think.
You have to be assertive and confident in the rules.
Right.
Because
you do get some college boys.
You're like always the bad guy as the ref.
Right. I mean, that's how I see them too.
Yeah.
And now
I
won.
It's so hard because I understand. Like, I'm like, as a player, I'd be so mad at this call. But I know this is actually the call that's supposed to be made.
Yeah.
Like an example, like you put two hands on somebody and it's like immediate. It should be an immediate foul. That's one that sticks out in my mind. Like no matter how soft it is or whatever.
Right.
And people get so mad.
You can't guard him. That's why you gotta put two hands on him.
But okay, I got to the to our first message back in May of 2019.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna read what I sent you the very first. I said, "Hey, you came up as a match on Tamu Housing Portal, and it seems like we have a lot in common. I am currently looking for a roommate, and I plan on living in the LLP engineering dorms. I enjoy playing basketball and running. I am a strong Christian, and I plan to get involved in a church once I get to College Station. If you already have a roommate, this is totally fine. Feel free to contact me anytime if you're interested in rooming or getting to know me more."
Wow.
This is totally fine. I didn't know you were very into running.
I ran cross country in high school.
I didn't know that.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
Yep.
Nice.
Doesn't do much running now, I suppose.
How did
I ran freshman year, like
Yeah.
like once or twice a week.
Oh, nice.
But
I
last
also
year,
ran cross country, so I think that's why you were both, like you said, basketball and running. Like I think I mentioned that maybe
Yeah,
because I ran cross country the first years.
Yeah.
Of high school.
I'm sure.
and then Calvin was like, basically like, I haven't found a roommate yet either. And then we started like just talking about random stuff. I remember you went and saw Detective Pikachu. That's right. It's right here. Like, I'm about to go watch a movie, so I'll talk to you later. I'm like, okay. And then afterwards, you're like, hey man. And I was like, hey man, was the movie good? You're like, yeah, I watched Detective Pikachu with my sister.
Oh my god, dude, that was a good movie. Big into Pokemon.
Dude, that was when I was like, okay, this guy's cool. He likes basketball, but he also has respect for one of the best childhood TV shows of all
It's the
time,
culture.
Pokemon.
And then y'all open Pokemon cards together
Yep.
later.
Yeah. I forgot about that. We played Pokemon Go freshman year.
Yeah, that was a big thing that we did.
Yeah, we were really in for some reason. Like first semester freshman year, we were really into playing Pokemon Go on campus.
Everyone was.
We got in a group chat. Went to all the raids. Living on campus was really.
Yeah, we
good
joined the
for
Discord.
Pokemon.
You joined
Yeah.
the Discord.
Joined the
No, no
Discord.
way.
Not active anymore, but
That's
hilarious.
it was great.
I have not played Pokemon Go since probably first semester.
I don't think
I
anyone
still have it
has.
on my phone, but yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you when I last got on.
dude, it's so funny looking back at those original
Right? Yeah, I haven't
messages.
done that at
Because I messaged like probably like 4 people or something, and I was like, I'm not gonna get a roommate. Like nobody's gonna want to room with me.
Well, I messaged one dude before you. Actually, I talked to like a couple of guys, and they all didn't seem very interested. And you're the first one that I think reached out to me, and I was like, okay, well, someone who's interested in me, I'll take it.
And then we didn't meet each other until we actually moved in to the dorm.
Oh,
Right,
dang.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we were both moving in when like another 20,000 people were moving in.
That's crazy.
I like the part where it's like, if you already have a roommate, this is fine.
And I use like full punctuation on like all my
Yeah.
stuff, like periods at
Super
the end of
serious.
everything.
It's like drafting an email through Instagram DM.
Yeah. It's like sending an email
Dear
to.
Calvin,
Yeah.
I am Cohen
I
Thompson.
hope this message finds you well.
Yeah. Dearest Calvin, it is winter here. I hope that you do not have a roommate yet. I would like to keep warm for the rest of the.
And
Nice.
so, yeah, well, we moved into the dorm. We basically did all the Howdy Week stuff, which Howdy Week, for those of you who don't know, is like
The week
first-
before. The
the week, the week
week
before
classes.
school. It's just like a bunch of free food, basically, and random events. And we
For
did it.
organizations at A&M to try to get you plugged into them, try
Yeah.
to recruit you or
Exactly.
haze you, get you into it.
So I'm pretty sure we just ate pizza probably almost every day.
Yep, I remember that. Pizza rolls.
Ooh.
I remember getting
At
those.
Lanes for the first time
Lanes, yeah.
on
the Simpson Drill Field.
yeah, Simpson Drill Field. I remember that. It's also so hot.
Right.
It's
Walking
always like
around
the
everywhere.
hottest week of the year.
It's so hot here, always.
It's either hot or rainy.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
basically.
and sometimes both. Like last night.
Yeah.
It was fully bright at last night, and it just started pouring. Like it
So
was just like so bright and just pouring, and it was hot and rainy, and it was so weird.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
understand.
just
Texas
humid.
weather.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
close to Galveston, close to the Gulf.
Yeah.
But so we were both freshman engineers, and so how it works at A&M is it's general engineering. I think we've talked about this in probably the first episode when Josh and I were talking about
Yeah, I think so,
our careers.
probably.
But basically, the first year at A&M, every engineer does the same classes, and at the end of that, you apply to get into like civil engineering or mechanical engineering or industrial engineering or whatever. And so Calvin and I were taking all the same classes. Was there a moment where you were like had like a wake up call or a thought like, oh, I don't know if I can really do this, or this is way harder than I thought, or can you think of anything?
Yes, maybe. I mean, one thing, when we had our first semester chemistry together,
Oh, chemistry.
chemistry was my least favorite.
Oh,
It was my
that
first
sucked.
B ever. I didn't make a B in
I
high
got a
school.
C.
So like getting into college, first semester getting a B was different. We were trying to pull out an A at the very last
Yeah.
final. I had to like make 100 on it to get an A, but I ended up like making I think like it was like a 60 or 50. It was terrible, but I got a B. But I think chemistry, that class was sort of a wake up call.
I think
and
it's
then
everyone's in
yeah,
engineering.
and then engineering 102, where we had to learn Python.
Oh, dude, yeah,
That was like sort of a wake up call. Like, okay, this is gonna be hard. One, and then two, I was like, but I kind of like enjoy figuring it out. Like, this Python is interesting. It's all new to me, but like I'm enjoying sort of learning it. Like, it's valuable to me, I think. I don't know if I haven't used it since that class, so I don't know if it's actually valuable. But at the time, I was like, wow, like this is some pretty neat stuff. Like, if civil engineering isn't it, then maybe computer programming, computer science or that kind of stuff. But like, yeah, definitely first semester of freshman year was like a big wake up call. Like, okay, engineering is like really tough. Like, you gotta learn so much. And that was just like the beginning of it. Like, bare minimum, I think.
dude, yeah, chemistry. We were in the same chemistry section.
Who'd y'all have?
Goody.
I had Goody.
Goody, yeah, she's
Yeah.
like the best one too.
Yeah, she was pretty
There's
good.
I like
one
all-
better.
There's one better,
Yeah, his name was like Arnett or something.
but who's the one that's really bad? I can't even remember.
Brown.
He's the one who wrote the
Brown, yeah.
book.
Yeah.
I heard people just like absolutely
Yeah.
bombing that
Yeah.
class.
Tests were hard. Yeah, I heard.
But yeah, looking back on it, chemistry's definitely not the hardest class I've taken. Like, it's one of the harder ones,
Oh,
but
yeah, no,
I've definitely
not-
taken
yeah.
harder ones.
No, yeah, physics tops it.
Oh yeah, physics for sure.
It's
Differential
it's like
equations.
in the moment you're like, this is so hard, and then looking back you're like, I could get an A in that class.
Yeah.
So just be prepared to have hard classes coming in
Well-
college, because I was not.
Yeah, what annoyed me was like chemistry. I don't think really it doesn't apply at all to civil engineering.
Yeah.
The only people it applies to are probably the biomedical engineers or the chemical engineers.
Well, it kind of has to do with materials.
Yeah.
A little bit. So like when it
So-
comes to mechanical engineering, we need to pick materials for like what we're designing, and so when like we're looking at the structure, chemistry has to deal with it a little bit.
Yeah.
So you need to have some basis.
But the thing that a lot of these classes that gets me is like you're going like even if you know a little bit of chemistry, you're not going to know enough to where like in a real workforce environment, you're not going to know enough to where you're going to be confident to like make a chemistry decision. You know what I'm saying? Like you're still going to bring on like somebody, like a professional like chemist to like make sure it's going to be all good.
But
so
you gotta have that basis.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, so.
Because then you just wouldn't know.
I guess some people, but chemistry is required in high school. I don't know. I guess it's important.
I guess I did have chemistry.
But like,
I would recommend taking AP chemistry in high school so you don't have to take it.
Yeah, that would be huge, honestly.
If you're an engineer.
But I guess it's useful to know. But like I took a material, like I'm taking 3 different like materials classes for industrial distribution.
I had my first material class this semester actually. So I'll see if chemistry's applied. Like you were saying, I'm pretty sure it will be, but I haven't had it yet. So
yeah, it's at least the one I took was more about like the like properties of metals and different like metals and plastics and different ways you can like mold metals and plastics and how it changes properties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I guess turned out, I don't know. I learned, it applied to my internship a little bit this summer. I didn't like use the knowledge really, but like I could understand the lingo.
Yeah.
As long as you can understand it.
So you came in civil engineering. What made you like stick with it? Because there's the whole what's it called?
ETAM,
which is pretty much A&M's version, like your general. I think we already explained this, but you come in general, and then after your first year, you pick which specific engineering you do. And they kind of try to show you every different engineering and like show you what they do and like talk about it a lot so you can make a more educated decision as you do your freshman year. But I guess Calvin came in civil, ended up going civil. What made you decide to stay?
I think that what made me decide to stay was that like there wasn't anything else that like, really drew me in. Like I think civil was just something I guess I always felt like I could do and like I wanted to do. And so one thing I ended up doing was they have at A&M the ASCE, which is the American Society of Civil Engineers. Freshman year, I tried to get somewhat plugged into that to where I can learn more about civil engineering, make sure it's something that I do want to do. So I went to some meetings for that. Specifically, I went to second semester a meeting for it was FACE, FACE, which is freshmen aspiring to be civil engineers, and it's run by ASCE. I went there with a couple of people I knew, and we learned about water towers. And at the time, I had no idea how water towers worked.
I still don't. So.
Yeah. I actually went into a water tower this summer, so
sick.
It was like really cool to see it from the inside.
Yeah.
I can tell you later. I don't know. I don't want to bore anyone. But
and I'm sure most people are interested.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, we learned about water towers. The people I was with were just like really cool. Civil engineers are like known as being like one of the more outspoken, friendly type of engineers. I suppose just because like a lot of what civil engineers do is with the public, and they have to be well spoken, direct with their words. Something I'm working on, and so like that kind of vibe was also something I enjoyed at that meeting. So that meeting, I think, really it stuck in my head. In my decision. I think there was, like you were saying, they were kind of introducing all of the different engineering A&M has. I think they did that like every Friday. I can't remember. When did they do that?
You had to watch a required video.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Every week.
Right.
And like take a test. And then there was one like weekend where you went to your top 3 that you're interested in.
That's been coming back in my mind now.
Yeah.
So that week I went to civil engineering first. I got to listen to, or listened to a presentation that one of the professors was putting on, and I really enjoyed that. It covered all of like what civil engineers do, what you could do at A&M with a civil engineering degree. Like there's different focuses in civil engineering. There's like transportation, water resources.
Wait, so give like a quick overview of what he said, if you can remember.
Okay. She said, there's a lot. Okay, this might be hard for me to do. Generally, civil engineers work to improve the infrastructure, and which is like utilities, transportation, sewage treatment, that kind of stuff for cities, for companies, and that kind of stuff. They also do land development projects. Roads, yes. They're big on roads. If you know TxDOT, they're always in construction with the highways and everything. So she talked a lot about how with a civil engineering degree, you'll be working a lot with other companies, collaborating. It's a team type of job where like you're not just doing it by yourself. And so that was something I enjoyed, being a part of a team. There was talks about like how in the future now civil engineers have to take into account the environment. Like that I think wasn't a bit as much of a big deal back in last
year.
Years, decades. And so in the future, like civil engineers aren't just civil engineers. There are environmental engineers, but civil engineering covers environmental engineers also, or the environmental aspect. And so that is something I also enjoyed, is like helping the environment, to where like for our projects it will sustain it and not just like make it worse. So that's my best guess as to like what they said.
Kind of just a brief overview of
Right.
what civil engineering is. If you made it this far and didn't know what civil engineering is.
Right. No, people ask me all the time. It's like, okay, well, what is civil engineer? What do they do? I'm like,
Yeah, well, you probably should have asked you that earlier.
It's a broad degree range. You can be a consultant, which is where like you help other companies like with their projects, make sure they're following guidelines right, making sure their project is doable. Like it's not just gonna like, it's not like something, a big imagination thing where it's not gonna work. As a civil engineer yourself, some of the things I learned this summer with my internship was like you do a lot of stuff on a program called AutoCAD Civil 3D, and so you're designing projects on that. There's other softwares that you use to like help make maps and images of that sort. There is math involved, quite a bit of math involved as a civil engineer. You have to like do calculations for like pipe networks, for drainage areas, for the grading of the land, a bunch of stuff that I have more to learn about, but it's all interesting to me. And so civil engineering is just working with the land and building structures or networks of pipes and water resource stuff.
So
sewage.
y'all probably work with the government a lot.
Yeah. As a civil engineer, you can either do, that's a good point. There's private sector stuff that you can do, which is, with a company, and then there's the public sector where you work for the government, a city. You could be like a city civil engineer. I'm not sure if like states have their own civil engineers. I don't think that's true. Actually, I don't know. But yeah, there's
cool.
Working for the government is a thing that civil engineers can do. I actually, in high school, I shadowed a guy. One of my mom's coworkers' husband was the city civil engineer for Waco. So I got to spend a day with him, shadowing him, and just like walking. Like he took me out to sites that they've been working on and that kind of stuff. He gave me blueprints, and that was that was one thing that really drew me into civil engineering was
Yeah, I'm sure.
spending a day with a civil engineer.
Yeah.
That I forgot to mention. So, yeah, and he worked with the city of Waco, or actually not city of Waco, McLennan County. He was a McLennan County civil engineer.
Oh, cool.
So,
Dang. So you mentioned you had an internship this summer, and you also you're a junior now. We didn't mention that.
yes,
And so you had an internship between your sophomore year and your junior year,
correct.
with the company. But you also were supposed to have that same internship between freshman year and sophomore year, right?
Yeah, I was. Yes.
So okay, how did you get an internship with a civil engineering firm as a freshman?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like that's something that a lot of people don't get very often. Like,
Yeah.
it's what I've heard.
Yeah, I think it's pretty rare, especially for like engineering.
Right. And so for me, freshman year, I got help from my cousin, William Baker. He's getting his doctorate here at A&M in physics. He helped me create a resume that was all nice and pretty, and professional. And I went to the Texas A&M SEC Career Fair, which is, what does SEC stand for? It's like
Student Engineering Council.
right. They hold a career fair every semester.
It was in Kyle Field, right? Or
Yeah, it was
inside
in
of
the
Kyle
Kyle
Field.
Field Hall of Champions, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I went there. I didn't have a suit. I went in a nice button-down collared shirt with a tie. I think I had a tie and slacks. And I had 5 resumes printed out, in just a regular folder. And I just told myself, like, this is practice. Like, I'm just gonna go talk to people, introduce myself, get a familiar face, get my face familiar with companies there.
Yeah.
And so when I went there, I actually only talked to one company, and it was probably like for, I'd say like 10 minutes. It was with one guy, and the company was Spires Engineering, which is located in Plano, if I'm right. Plano, Lucas, Allen, somewhere up there in Dallas.
Yeah.
And they do a bunch of civil engineering development for residential houses, like complexes. And so we just, I sparked a conversation. I had my elevator pitch, I suppose. I said, hello, my name is Calvin Small. I'm a freshman engineering student hoping to become a civil engineering student. And, I'm just interested in seeking an internship with you and to learn more about civil engineering and, try to do my best in that kind of sense. I don't know if that's actually how it was, But we talked about intramural basketball. We did, after that little, short conversation about like the civil engineering aspect, we just talked about basketball. We talked about sports, and it was really chill. And so I gave him my resume, and that was that. That's all the time I had to actually talk with companies. And so the fall career fair, I didn't get any offers or anything. I just got my name out there. In the spring, I went back and I made it a goal to go talk to them again, see if they remembered me. And so I went back to them. There was a different guy, or 2 different guys there. I actually wrote down the name of the guy I talked to at first. And I was like, last semester I talked with this guy, and they're like, oh, cool. Great. And so then I talked to them about how I would like to be an intern with them at some point. They mentioned to me that they usually hire sophomores or juniors in hopes to hire them later on. But part of our conversation was I lived in Waco or Lorena, and they're up in Plano. So about the housing, that we would have to, figure out where I would live. I have family up there, so I could live with them. But they mentioned to me that if I was interested in looking for a company closer to home in Waco, they told me about the company Walker Partners, which is, they said, similar to them, and they're really excellent, a great company to work for. And so I looked in the pamphlet. I tried to find Walker Partners, but before that, I actually talked to TxDOT, and then I went to go look for Walker Partners. Funny enough, I went to a different company that wasn't Walker Partners, who I thought was Walker Partners. I introduced them, and it's we don't hire civil engineers. I'm like, oh, like, sorry.
Sorry, bye.
Yeah, sorry, bye. So I actually found them. I talked with Monica, the one of the workers there. She does like relations, like human. She's kind of like their HR.
Yeah.
And I gave her my resume. I got to learn about what Walker Partners did and everything. The actual owner, Jed Walker, he was there the day before, or yeah, he was at the career fair the day before, so I didn't get to meet him. But I got to meet Monica, gave them my resume, and after that, I just went off and like I was like, okay, well, I gave them my resume. Hopefully, they contact me and everything. And then that was probably like midday, maybe early morning or late morning. Later that night, in the dorm, I got a phone call from Jed. I think it was Jed. And he invited me to go to dinner the next day as like the next interview process at the Republic, which is a really fancy steakhouse here in College Station. I was like, oh my gosh. So I think I told you, Cohen, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, so the next day I went to dinner with them, and I sat like 2 chairs away from Jed. That's just how it was. And then there was like a couple of other employees there who I actually got to work with this past summer, which was cool. And then there was probably 5 other students at the table, and they asked us some questions about like why we want to do civil engineering. We asked them questions. We talked about fishing and sports, Texas A&M football, all that kind of stuff. And from there, I was like, okay, well, I don't know if there's another interview step or process. That was great dinner. Like I had
one thing that I remember is you ordered the most expensive thing on the menu, right?
I did, yeah.
on their budget.
Right. They paid for my dinner.
Did you do it on purpose or just didn't know?
Well, I knew it was the most expensive thing looking at the menu. My intention was not to get it. One thing our other roommate says, Nick, is like one thing you don't want to do at an interview or at like a eating interview is order expensive food and be the last one to finish eating. And that's exactly what I did. I ordered the most expensive meal, which was like some huge steak, and I was the last one eating because it was so huge. But I ordered it because we were looking at the menu, and he's like, oh wow, look at this. And like the waiter was there explaining what it was, and he's like, oh, someone should order that. And I was like near the end of the ordering line, and no one ordered it yet. And I was like, okay, well, it sounds good. He said someone should order it. So I did.
And that's what got him the interview.
And he was like, great. Like, glad you got it.
You're hired.
And I ate it. It was a little more raw than I would have liked, but yeah.
So he didn't like it in the end, and
the $100 steak, and he was like, eh.
Yeah, all right.
Close to like $60. It was crazy.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I got the interview. I don't know how much longer after, I got an email from Monica saying they've hired me as an intern, or they would like to offer me an intern position. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so I was like, I can't believe I got an internship as a freshman. What it turned out to be was I would have done surveying, which is different than civil engineering, but it's a part of like the process. Is like the surveyors survey the land before. That's the first step of like doing a project. So you have to have the survey, the topographic survey, boots on the ground type stuff. And so I would have been a part of a team doing that, which is great experience. But I didn't get to do that because of COVID. They postponed my internship to this last summer, and I was supposed to be on the survey team again, but the survey leader the week before broke his ankle playing like outside with his little daughter.
Oh gosh.
And so like Monica called me and it's like, hey, we just had a quick change of like what you're doing this summer, but it'll all be fine. We're gonna put you on a design team. And I was like, okay, cool. And at the time I didn't really know what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
So like when I heard design team, I'm like, okay, like that's fine. But when I got there, like I realized I was gonna be in the office working with a team doing like design stuff on the computer, and it turned out to be really awesome. I was there with 3 other interns. We all got to know each other really, really well. We were all from A&M, so that was a great common denominator. We all helped each other. I learned a lot through like training that they held, workshops. We went on field trips. That's where I got to go see the inside of a water tower. I went to a sewage treatment plant where it was like gushing sewage liquid. And it looked like chocolate milk. I put a video of it on my Instagram. It was crazy. Once you get past the smell, it's fine. But,
I never get past the smell.
There's one of the other interns there. When we got up to like the part where you could see it, it was just gushing water and like it was making a lot of noise. And he was just like, when you get past the smell, it's kind of soothing, like just the running water. And so it was great. I really enjoyed it. They treated me so well. There's a high chance that I would go back. I want to go back if I had the chance. So I would have to say the internship was a great blessing and everything. So that's how I got, I guess, to answer your question, the internship. Freshman year, I had to stay
and a little bit about it. Perfect.
Yeah.
So knowing what you do now, what was it like the same expectations you had of civil engineering? Like say your expectations in high school of civil engineering, or maybe even early college, you've now done a couple of years of college and an internship. Is it the same as kind of what you expected?
I would have to say no. It was not what I expected because for this internship, I came in with no expectations. Like I didn't know what I was going to be doing, so it was a great experience, like learning what actual civil engineering is. In some of my classes, we talked about it. We did surveying stuff. We worked on AutoCAD, so like simple things like that. And so I had somewhat of an idea, like, okay, I'll use this later. I'll have to know how to work the software. I'll know why we have to do things. I'll have to follow these rules, which are like the ethics of civil engineering. But I didn't know how it all played out. So coming in high school, I was like, okay, civil engineering is building things for cities, working for people, improving people's lives. That's what I thought about civil engineering as a high schooler. Coming into college, I knew there was a lot more to it, where I learned about the technical expertise, understanding structures and the way things act because of, physical, how materials are made and everything. Why you use a gravity line sewage pipe instead of a force main, which pumps the stuff up instead of down. I didn't know anything about that until this internship or in college. And so I would say my expectation of civil engineering has become like, it's stayed the same as in you're helping people, and like bettering their lives. So that's stayed the same, but there's so much more to like the actual job of a civil engineer, which I've really enjoyed learning about and hope to soon become, as my future career in life. Just like working with a team, working for certain projects where you get to talk with the client and like meet their needs, and like if there's a certain thing in the way where you can't do a certain thing, working around it to still adapt and give the best result is like something I learned as like that's what civil engineering is about. It's like not just coming up with the best thing, but like also another thing is like not doing the best thing, like using the best materials always. It's like you have to fit stuff in a budget too. Like cities have budgets for their projects, and so like you have to do the best with what you can. And so using your engineering judgment, like that's part of the problem. So there's a lot more that I didn't know, and so coming into college, my expectations were exceeded, and that's a good thing.
Nice,
because I didn't have much expectation.
What kind of like high schooler would you recommend to come into like civil engineering?
Ooh, good question. Well, I would say someone who can talk with other people, someone who's not an introvert. For me, it's tough because there are times when I can be introverted. I might not want to talk, but I am definitely willing to talk, especially if it's like to better myself or like in a sense where like I get to learn from them, or where it's like you have to solve a problem. It's like where you have to talk. So like someone who's an effective communicator, that's something that you can improve on daily.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
It's not something that you're just given, something that you work on. But someone who's good at math, they understand, basic math and eventually complex math. Like they're willing to learn it and like understand it. There are civil engineers that get away with like knowing little technical expertise is what I've learned. But like the good civil engineers, the one that you remember and come back to as like a client, are the ones that have like high level of technical expertise and high level of effective communication and the high level of leadership skills. Like that's something that I learned is like that's like the it person as a civil engineer. It's like you have those three pillars: leadership, communication, and technical expertise. And so if you think as a high schooler you can eventually have those three pillars, then you're a great fit for civil engineering, especially if you want to help the community around you, if you want to better the lives of people. That's a great way. One thing is also as civil engineering, like some people don't even know like the projects that you're working on like really improve their lives. Like for example, civil engineers do stuff under the ground with like pipes, wastewater pipes, storm drains. If there's a big storm that comes in, like a 50-year flood, the roads get filled up. You can't drive through it and everything because of the pipe structure. It might be too small in diameter, or there might be too much infiltration of like water leakage. That's something that civil engineers work on to like improve to where if there is a 50-year flood, the storm drain pipes can hold it underwater and the roads won't be flooding where you can't go anywhere. So that's like something where it's like you get to help people even without them knowing sometimes. Like there's a bunch of people.
You won't be appreciated.
Right.
The silent hero.
It's a silent hero. That's a good way to point it. I was trying to come up with something, but as I'm talking, it's hard to do that. That's a good way to put it. You're a silent hero. There's times when you are a known hero. It's like, okay, you build a building and people can see that. And so there's both spectrums of that sense. And that's something I enjoy, or I hope to enjoy.
When you're actually a civil engineer.
Right. So I would just say, as a high schooler, just keep learning. And if you want to help people in like the construction business and like see things come to life through your own like eyes and hands and your own work, civil engineering is a great pathway to do that. You get to talk with a lot of people and work with them. One thing I learned is that like what's the right word? Companies like gas companies, electrical companies, water companies, those are a hassle to communicate with. So you got to be a good communicator with that and just be patient with them. But I mean, yeah.
Heck yeah.
Like that.
Thanks.
Also, I think another thing that you did really well in high school is you got to shadow somebody
Right.
who had done the job. So you had a really good idea. I mean, not a really good idea, but a way better idea than most high schoolers on what
That's
a
a
civil
great,
engineering
that's
could
a great
do.
point.
So
Yeah,
if
just
you're
reach
wanting to
out
be a
to
civil,
people. Yeah.
if you're wanting to be a civil engineer, and like try and find somebody who's actually a civil engineer,
or anything. If you want to be anything, like just I'm sure your mom knows someone, your dad knows someone, your friends' dads know someone.
And more often than not, the people who you shadow like are happy that you're there. Like,
Yeah.
They want to let you see what they're doing and give you all the tools and tips in order to like, eventually become them.
Mhm.
So
yeah,
Ask questions.
people like to inspire people.
Mhm.
So yeah. So Calvin, thank you so much for talking about your internship experience, your civil engineering experience. To wrap up this episode, we do something at the end of every episode where we call it a quirky careers section.
Quirky career. That's
That
the
sounds
official name
exciting.
I guess that we used it last time.
now. Okay, cool. Quirky career. That's it.
Quirky careers. It's basically just at the very end of every episode, we find a career or like a job or a hobby that is super absurd.
Okay.
And
We
doesn't
had
seem
a
like it's a real thing.
what dice roller, and
Yeah,
then,
we had a professional
dice checker.
dice quality, like a quality inspector, a dice quality
dice.
inspector.
Like a person who's at like a casino.
Yeah, to
Okay.
make sure they're like
'Cause
regulation.
they have
I
to be
guess.
like perfectly.
so no other number gets rolled more.
Yeah. Anyways,
Okay.
you can listen to that episode.
'Cause
but the
it's
one we have,
completely- oh,
the one we have for today is a professional bridesmaid. There's a whole website. I have it pulled up right
What is
here.
it?
It's called
Bridesmaids for hire.
.com. Yeah, bridesmaidsforhire.com. Look it up. It's really weird.
Sure,
but
you're saying I
apparently,
should. Well, I can't, but.
yeah.
Maybe
Well,
there's groomsmen for hire.
Hey, maybe. But apparently you can hire, like if you're getting married and you want it to appear like you have more close friends than you do, or like you need somebody to be a bridesmaid, you can pay for them to pretend to be like one of your best friends, like growing up,
Oh
even though
my.
you've never met them before.
That's
and
a
they're
little
like-
sad, but.
Professional.
There's like many options though, right?
So it's
too?
pretty much like
There's like
an actor.
yeah,
pretty much.
basically.
But like it says they can write your speech for you,
Yeah.
and then like be
You could even have them be your maid of honor.
Yes.
Yeah, you can have them be
Yeah.
your maid of honor. Wait, I want to learn more. Click to learn more about maid of honor.
Yeah, look, it'll write your speech for you right there.
This is crazy, but I found out a bit because one of my cousins.
Did it?
No, she didn't do
Oh,
it.
okay. I was
Yeah,
like,
that'd be
no
crazy.
way.
No, she got married during COVID, so she like had almost nobody at her wedding. But
okay.
she's about to graduate college this semester,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like a marketing major or something. And we were asking her like what she wants to be, kind of, and she was like, she doesn't really know still. But she's like, I just want to be a professional best friend.
She could literally do it.
No, and she brought this up. She's like, I thought about just signing up and being people's bridesmaids,
No
and
way.
people's weddings and stuff like that.
I
So
wonder
that's
what
made
the
me think
pay's
about it.
like.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I wonder
Like,
how.
is it by how many people show up to the wedding, or how long you have to be there?
There's got to be
Like,
like
how's
a
it
set
work?
price per
Dude,
wedding.
bride. Dude,
Yeah.
this one girl on here has written 147 speeches.
I'm sure she just writes the exact
Copy and
same
paste.
thing.
Yeah, that's
a little.
It's a template.
Oh, Jen Glantz. She's the professional. It looks like maybe this whole website's just for her.
Just her.
I wonder if people fly her out places. That'd be crazy.
That's honestly a great job. She gets to network with a ton of random
Yeah.
people, and she gets
Go to weddings, get
free
fed,
food,
dance.
get free travel, probably.
Yeah, I mean, this website's like legit.
Yeah,
Like,
it
she's
looks
put a lot of time into it.
looks like she used Squarespace or something.
And then like,
And that's a perfect segue to the sponsor.
No, yeah.
Just kidding.
Squarespace is a website.
yeah, that would be funny. Hey, Squarespace,
Next time.
we got you. We're
Yeah,
here for you.
that was the only free shout out we're ever giving you, unless you have to pay for it next time.
Yeah.
Anyways,
want to
that-
pay for that one too? So
that's the end of this episode. Thanks so much, Calvin. Yeah.
I loved being on it here. Just saying.
Yeah,
Thank y'all for
yeah.
having me.
Dude, yeah,
for sure.
it's-
Thanks, Calvin.
It's really fun. If
I
you
learned
know
a lot about civil engineering.
I know. I feel like I know way more now, even though I've been living with you for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I can tell you some more facts later.
I want to
on
hear
when
about that
I'm
water tower.
done. Oh, yeah. I gotta tell you that.
But anyways, it's been Cohen,
It's been Josh.
and thank you for watching
Finding Zeal.
Great job.
I never remember. All right, cool.
That was good.
Nice.
Hopefully everything recorded well.
Our podcast episode.